Hello and welcome to my channel. I will share with you the story of the movie Ad Astra, which was released in 2019. I hope you have a good time listening to it. Before we start, let us make a little review about the movie. Here are some excerpts from the reviews of the movie Ad Astra. From Rotten Tomatoes 1, Ad Astra takes a visually thrilling journey through the vast reaches of space while charting an ambitious course for the heart of the bond between parent and child. From IMDb 2, solid Heart of Darkness tale, although it is not serious enough for its somber tone, or fun enough to sell its moments of action. From Roger Ebert 3, it's a special film. Roy McBride, Pitt, is the coolest man in a spacesuit. In the near future, when space travel is more prevalent, McBride is legendary as someone whose BPM never rises above 80, even when he's plummeting to Earth as he does in an early scene. Let me introduce you to the people who brought Ad Astra to life. These are the actors who played the roles of the characters in this epic space adventure. Roy Richard McBride, a major in U.S. Space Command, played by Brad Pitt. H. Clifford McBride, Roy's father, and the commander of the missing Lima project, played by Tommy Lee Jones. Helen Lantis, the director of the Spacecom base on Mars, played by Ruth Negga. Eve McBride, Roy's wife, played by Liv Tyler. Colonel Thomas Pruitt, a former colleague of Clifford, played by Donald Sutherland. Lieutenant General Rivas, a Spacecom officer, played by John Ortiz. Chip Garnes, a Spacecom officer, played by Greg Brick. Donald Stanford, a Spacecom officer, played by Loren Dean. Gather around, dear listeners, for I have a tale to tell you. A tale of a man who journeyed to the farthest reaches of space, in search of his long-lost father. A tale of courage, sacrifice, and discovery. A tale of Ad Astra. The future of humanity is in peril as unknown power surges wreak havoc on the solar system. Major Roy McBride, Brad Pitt, a son of a legendary astronaut H. Clifford McBride, Tommy Lee Jones, barely escapes death when one of these surges hits a giant space antenna he is working on. He learns from U.S. Space Command, Spacecom, the military branch in charge of space operations, that the surges are coming from the Lima Project base, a lost expedition that his father led 26 years ago to search for alien life beyond the outer planets. The Lima Project vanished 16 years ago near Neptune, but Spacecom believes that Clifford may still be alive. Roy agrees to take on a mission to Mars, where he will try to contact his father through a secure channel. He is accompanied by Colonel Pruitt, Donald Sutherland, an old friend of his father. Roy and Colonel Pruitt take a commercial flight to the Moon, where they are met by U.S. military staff who escort them to the Spacecom lunar base across a dangerous area. On their way to the base, they drive lunar rovers and encounter raiding pirates, who attack them and kill everyone except Roy and Pruitt. They arrive at the base, where Pruitt is critically injured and taken to intensive care. Roy joins a Spacecom flight with 4 Spacecom officers, Captain Lawrence Tanner, Donnie Keshawars, Donald Stanford, Loren Dean, Franklin Yoshida, Bobby Nish, and Lorraine Devers, Kimberly Elise. The Cepheus crew then heads to Mars. On their way to Mars, the ship picks up a distress signal from a Norwegian biomedical research space station. Roy and the ship's captain go inside the space station and find it empty, except for a violent baboon that escaped from the Norwegian station. The baboon kills Captain Tanner and Roy kills the baboon. Roy is attacked by another baboon but manages to get out of the station with the captain's corpse. The ship is about to land on Mars as usual, but another power surge affects the ship and requires manual control. The acting captain is too afraid to fly, so Roy takes over the controls and lands the ship safely. Roy lands on Mars, which has only one human settlement. He goes through the chilly and gloomy customs office, run by the only customs officer and employee Tanya Pincus, Natasha Leone. He then goes to the underground Spacecom base, where he meets Helen Lantis, Ruth Negga, the facility director. He is asked to record voice messages for the Lima project, hoping that Clifford will reply. He deviates from the script, and the crew seems to get a response. But Roy is removed from the mission, because his personal link to the mission is seen as a psychological threat to himself and the mission's success. He is kept in a comfort room, where Lantis visits him. She tells him she was born on Mars and has only visited Earth once as a child. She also tells him she is the daughter of Lima Project crew members. She secretly shows Roy classified footage from the Lima Project, showing that Clifford's crew rebelled against him and tried to go back to Earth, but he killed them all by shutting down their life support systems. Her parents were among the dead. She also tells him that the crew that took him to Mars are going to the Lima Project base soon, where they plan to blow it up with a nuclear payload. They agree that Roy is the only one who can face Clifford, and Helen helps Roy escape from the base, taking him to an underground lake under the rocket launch site. Roy gets on the rocket as it takes off, and the crew finds him. They are ordered to stop him, but they all die in the fight, even though Roy tries to save them. Roy is alone now and flies the ship. He thinks about his father and his wife Eve on the long trip to Neptune. He feels lonely and stressed, but he gets to the Lima Project after a few weeks. He gets close to the base in a small module, but another surge hits and breaks the module. He has to do a spacewalk to get into the base. He sees that the Lima base is almost empty and most of the crew is dead. He puts the nuclear payload and meets his father at last. Clifford McBride is the only one alive in the base. He tells his son that the surges are from the ship's broken antimatter power source, which was damaged when the crew tried to mutiny, and he couldn't fix it. Clifford also tells him that he kept working on the project for all these years, because he still believed in finding non-human intelligent life. Roy sets the payload and gets ready to go back to his ship with Clifford, but Clifford uses the thrusters on his spacesuit to fly into deep space, not wanting to go back to Earth. Roy tries to rescue him, but Clifford pushes him away, making Roy sad as he sees his father float away in Neptune's orbit. Roy is alone and gets back to his ship, passing through Neptune's ring with a piece of the Lima Project ship's hull to protect himself. He also takes the data from the base with him. He doesn't have enough fuel to go back by himself, so he uses the blast from the nuclear explosion to push the ship home. He sees that the Lima Project data shows that humans are probably the only smart life in the universe. Roy feels a new wish to connect with the people he loves, and goes back to Earth with a new hope. He seems to get back with his wife. The moral of the movie Ad Astra 2019 is not explicitly stated, but it can be inferred from the themes and messages of the film. Some possible morals are: we are not alone in the universe, but we are alone in our search for meaning and purpose. We have to find our own way to connect with ourselves, others, and God. We have to face our past and our fears, and not let them define us or hold us back. We have to forgive ourselves and others, and move on with our lives. We have to balance our ambition and curiosity with our responsibility and compassion. We have to care for our planet and our people, and not lose sight of what matters most. We have to appreciate the beauty and wonder of creation, and not take it for granted. We have to be humble and grateful for the gift of life. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and click the notification below to stay updated on our next upload.